Well, welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the house it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Being kind is the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And sorry about the technical difficulty there. My camera just decided to sort of glitch out, and the only way you can actually reboot your camera on OBS is to just completely reboot OBS. And so there we are. It would be really nice if the OBS devs find some kind of workaround for that one of these days. But so yeah, how's everybody doing, chat? As I get us set up for the first thing, because there's discourse about Hassan, which is not exactly new. But what's new is the place where they're having Hassan discourse. Like, CNN decided to do a whole smear piece. Now, anyone who watches the stream knows I can kind of take or leave Hassan. I think he does some good stuff, but I also think he's kind of a bit too much of a sockdem and a little bit too married to the Democratic Party on a certain level. I mean, and there have been some takes that I've disagreed with, but on the whole, that's not even what this is about. This is Jake Tapper with Peter Hamby and Jonah Platt. Jake Tapper, people will remember, was responsible for promoting to a very large audience on CNN some of the wildest and most thoroughly debunked lies about the 7th of October, including the beheaded baby bullshit. And he has, to my knowledge, never issued an apology, never issued a correction, no retraction, nothing. You can do this sort of thing and have a career in media in the U.S. That is the standard of, like, U.S. media. Okay, so here we go.
Politics lead now. Now, Hassan Piker might not be a household.
I mean, I love the headline.
At least among adults.
I love the headline. First of all, far left political streamer drives wedge into Democratic Party. It's like, first of all, he's not that far left. Second of all, it isn't that he's driving a wedge into the Democratic Party so much as his popularity among actually sort of shows the massive divide that exists between the Democrats and the people they rely on for votes. Also cute how he just says, oh, well, maybe adults won't know about this. It's like, motherfucker, just because you only found out about him 5 minutes ago doesn't actually mean that he was only known to under 18s.
But ask your kids. His new role as a midterm surrogate for some Democrats is proof that his political influence is expanding far beyond the streaming platform Twitch, where he has taken up residence. He is, without question, an online influencer with nearly 3 million followers. His rise as a prominent voice on...
I love you see. I mean, this tells you everything about the CNN audience that we're talking about. That we're talking about him as if nobody's heard of him. Like, if this is who watches CNN, people who have no idea who probably one of the best known political influencers in the U.S., certainly one of the biggest ones who isn't like a Nazi. Then I mean they are actually like just broadcasting to people who live in a bubble.
The left is now driving a wedge between Democrats, and for good reason. Hassan Piker's past and present is checkered with controversial, if not outrageous, if not bigoted state comments.
Oh yeah, okay, let's hear one. Jake Tapper, the guy who never apologized for telling some major lies that helped to get a genocide started.
It's like this one.
America deserved 9/11, dude. It. I'm saying it. We totally put it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. The ultra or the...
Isn't that interesting? He's like... the number of jump cuts in that one sentence.
Orthodox Jews leaving Israel, hilarious. Okay? If they serve in the military and then they get their untrained, inbred asses shipped into southern Lebanon, again, very funny.
I mean, okay, so where's the outrageous stuff? I mean...
Hassan Piker calling Orthodox Jews inbred. Piker has also posted comments such as these.
I mean, yeah, that wasn't great, but also it's not entirely untrue either in the ultra-Orthodox community. It is very small, and they don't tend to marry outside of the community.
Where he unequivocally sides with Hamas.
Why don't you quote what he actually said here? Well, why didn't you... Okay, he says, as a lesser evil voter. So already this is a critique of the whole lesser evil idea. I will once again repeat my harm reductionist credo. Like, he is trolling the liberals who'll be like, yeah, you know, vote for this genocidal fuck because they're the lesser evil. Hamas is 1,000 times better than the fascist settler colonial apartheid state, and the real harm happening here is that another illegal stolen land sale is taking place at another synagogue. Like, so no, he did not unequivocally side with Hamas, actually. That is not what any of this is. Like, why are you going to insult the intelligence of your viewers, Jake Tapper? You've got the fucking quote right in front of you. Hey, Richard. Hey, Riveroon. Don't know where I got... I don't know. Richard Roon. Who the fuck knows? Jake Tapper does things to me.
Calling them the lesser of two Israels compared to the evils. Lesser of two evils compared to...
Why didn't you just read the fucking quote? It's right there. Well, you don't need to summarize it. It's not long. Hey, Shakespeare, how you doing? We're watching Jake Tapper scaremonger about Hassan.
The government of Israel. Piker has since apologized for his comments on 9/11, but he stood by the rest.
Well, because what he was doing there, first of all, was trolling people who talk about harm reduction and misuse it in the context of electoral politics. And it is not unequivocally siding with Hamas to say that that nothing they've done approaches anything near the harm that has been done by Israel. That's just siding with the facts. That is not even a seriously controversial statement amongst people who actually pay attention to the facts.
Accusing others of taking him out of context in a Wall Street Journal op.
Well, I mean, or like outright lying about him like you just did, Jake.
Bad. The leaders of the Democratic think tank Third Way, right, quote,
yes, okay, so a far-right think tank that has been strongly encouraging Democrats to join in the genocidal campaign against trans people.
Mr. Piker is anti-American, anti-women, anti-Western, and anti-Semitic.
I mean, like, Third Way does not get to talk about anti-women.
No Democrat should engage with him. All should seek to push him to the fringe where he belongs, unquote.
I mean, this is so wild because nobody, like, Third Way talks like this with all this authority, with all the authority they can muster, with viewpoints that resonate with like a single-digit percentage of the people who actually vote for Democrats. But they sit here, they talk like they've got so much it was so much worthwhile to say. You push him to the fringe. I mean, like, the people who listen to them, if they, like, push a popular figure who it's worth noting, and this is part of why the Democratic Party fucking hates him, the leadership really does not like him, is because he made his career without them. He doesn't owe them anything. And they like control.
Hassan Piker has recently become an issue in Michigan. It's home to a competitive three-way Democratic primary for governor. Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed, one of the three candidates and a former CNN commentator, announced that Piker will join him for 2 rallies in April.
Yeah, which is actually just a good electoral move, because you're talking about an area that is full of Palestinian Americans, full of Arab Americans, and sharing the stage with somebody who has consistently called out the genocide and called out the people enabling it is a much better move than like the one that Third Way was so keen on, where they had Bill Clinton go to a room full of Arab Americans and fucking just like scream racism at them. Hello, W. Widower. Like, okay, I assume you're doing a bit here. Like, best country in the world at what exactly?
His opponents quickly seized on that, slamming the decision as unacceptable, calling Piker not somebody that you should be campaigning with.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you actually want to win the election. I mean, if you want to win the election, it's probably good. Oh yes, they're very good at that. Although, of course, the thing is, they're only good at that because so far they have had the good sense and cowardice to only bomb people who have no air defenses and therefore cannot shoot them down. I mean, and that luck has run out because now they're like targeting Iran, and Iran turns out to be pretty good at shooting down planes, actually.
At a moment when there's clearly a lot of pain and trauma.
Oh, which stream are you thinking of? Is that President Sunday?
Across our state. Ardoni O'Sullivan caught up with Piker over the weekend at a No Kings rally in New York and asked how he fits into the Democratic Party's future.
You have become an issue within the Democratic Party yourself.
An issue. He's become an issue. I don't smoke crackic or crack.
Tell us about that.
I don't think I'm necessarily an issue within the Democratic Party as much as I am an issue for a lot of consultants.
Yeah, he's actually quite right. It is about the consultants, like fucking... yeah, like the fucking Third Way. עכשיו אני מדברת איתך בעברית. המשטר שלכם כבר גוסס. זמן לכם ללכת לביתה. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, get fucked. Well, okay, there we go. We're out of here. Sorry about the Zio troll asshole.
Want fascist?
I do hope that it was somebody from the entity, that it wasn't Al-Kayani who understood exactly what I said, because I like to say that directly in Hebrew. I said, your regime is decrepit, and it's time for you to fuck off home.
To win in this country. I don't want Republicans to win in this country. We can argue on the methods. Maybe you think that my worldview and my values and the policies that I want politicians to represent.
Policies, it's worth noting, that actually are way more popular than like anyone associated with the Democratic Party.
Might be different than yours, but at the end of the day, I think we have the same goals.
Yeah, I mean, and see, this is a good example of how I'm critical of where I'm critical of him, because I don't think we do have the same goals. And I don't think that it's necessarily a great idea to be trying to create the impression that there is any sense at all in trying to do any kind of fucking entryism in the Democratic Party. That works in a situation where there are democratic structures internally. The Democratic Party has none. It's a handful of fucking consultants and politicians, and they can stitch everything up however they want.
I should note, I misspoke. It's a Michigan Senate primary, not governor primary. Jonah Platt is with us. He's the host of Being Jewish with Jonah Platt podcast. Peter Hamby is the founding partner of Puck News.
Okay, Zionist trolling followed by link spam. Yes, we're blocking this user.
And Peter, look, obviously he has said a lot of things that a lot of people find outrageous, and he called one Jew a Zionist pig dog.
Well, I mean, are you saying he wasn't a Zionist?
He is called.
Like, who did he call that, by the way, Jake? I mean, like, I seem to remember that journalists are supposed to be really big on the 5 Ws. So who is he calling that? In what context?
The Hamas, the Palestinian resistance.
Well, it is the Palestinian resistance. In fact, that's what fucking Hamas stands for. It stands for Harakat al-Muqawamati al-Islamiyati, Islamic Resistance Movement, and it is part of the Palestinian resistance. Like, I mean, that's not something that's not really seriously controversial.
He has justified October 7th and on and on and on.
If I were Jake Tapper, I wouldn't want to bring up October 7th because it will just remind anyone who pays attention of the fucking outrageous lies he told about October 7th.
What does his influence tell you about where the Democratic Party stands today? And I guess, is it despite those comments or because of those comments?
I mean, what's great about this is, like, the U.S. media do this whole show of we're all very objective and nonpartisan and stuff. Clearly, Jake Tapper is just very strongly taking a stand with the far right here.
I think it's, despite those comments, a little bit. I mean,
Host of Snapchat's Good Luck America.
What it says about the party. I think Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is looking for a lane in a three-way primary. He is slightly behind in the polling, and like a lot of Democrats and a lot of progressives after the 2024 election wants to connect with young people, connect with young men, go into the manosphere, the
manosphere. I mean, and I will say, yeah, he does sort of do a thing where he does seem to try to kind of connect with people who might be caught up in the fucking manosphere, but is he not going to mention that it could be anything to do with Palestine?
To the podcast space. It just so happens that Hassan Piker is aligned with a lot of Dr. Abdul El-Sayed's views on healthcare, on taxing the rich and billionaires, etc. He is a Bernie, AOC, Zoran guy. But with that, he has a long reputation of saying all of the things you just played here.
In what context, though? I mean, like, he just threw that Zionist pig dog line up there. Let me see if I can find that. I'm curious who it was, because I feel like the reason he isn't telling us who it was is that it was probably somebody where we might say, okay, that's kind of understandable. I'm not actually finding who he was referring to.
Just talking to you before the segment. I mean, I think it is a risk for Abdul.
I mean, we don't even know for sure. We only have Jake Tapper's not particularly valuable word on the fact that the person he said it to was Jewish. We can be fairly certain that he probably was Zionist. Which, I mean, for pricks like Jake Tapper, that's the same thing, because they buy into anti-Semitic ideas.
Well, El-Sayed to have him come into the state, it's an obvious risk, but he is grasping for votes.
It's an obvious... Do you think it's an obvious risk? I mean, you're talking about a district You're talking about a state that is full of people who are absolutely turned off by the pro-genocide positions of 2024. And who probably has a lot more in common politically on a lot of levels with, like, Hassan than they have with fucking, like Bill Clinton or, like, the Third Way.
In a crowded three-way primary in a state, Michigan, which you remember from 2024, both in the primary, the Democratic primary, and the general election, has a lot of Arab and Muslim voters outside of Detroit, in Dearborn.
One is Jake Tapper of CNN. He is, like, their main anchor guy, and he's a big liar. He would, if we have war crimes trials over the genocide in Gaza, the media trials, which there is precedent for because it happened over in, I think you probably didn't want to post whatever that is, Shakespeare. I feel like that was probably the wrong window. I wonder if there's any way I can delete it for you. There's no way I can delete it, unfortunately. Well, we can sort of cycle it out of sight, though, because I feel like that was not.
Boyne Heights, and Democrats have been suffering there, and I think he's trying to grab onto them. He's doing rallies at Michigan, in Michigan State, so he's trying to go after young people. One thing I do want to point out...
I mean, what's wild is when they talk about young people, they act... and this is this thing that's been going on ever since, like, millennials discourse was a thing, where they will, like, talk about people who are in their 30s as if they are fucking teenagers.
That you said in the intro.
Like, you look at... it's just sort of taken as read. Okay. Just, send a few messages and get that off of the screen for yourself. Where there's this assumption that if anyone engages with streamers and YouTube creators or something like that, then that must mean that their average age is like 21. There is just this assumption in the way all these people talk, and it's just absolutely wild, because either they believe that, in which case then they have no business having this conversation because they are completely out of touch. Oh, well, there was cross-examination at Nuremberg. There was a lot of cross-examination at Nuremberg because there were so many different lawyers.
He's not a household name. The Speaking with American Men project, which was launched to study young men by Democrats after 2024, polled Hassan Piker's name among young men. He's not well known at all. About half of young people don't know who he is.
Well, like, which young men? Who are they polling exactly? And how are you defining young men?
And then his favorable rating, he's -9%. He's underwater with faves. Only 20% of young men have a favorable opinion.
Like, who are you polling? I just find it, like, I feel like I would have seen polling on this if it had been published, so I'm wondering what kind of polls we're talking about. I also have my doubts about all of this just from the fact that CNN is treating him like a fire that needs to be put out. Like, if it were true that he was so unpopular and therefore so uninfluential, why would they be bothering with him? Oh, no, there was cross-examination at every phase
of Hassan Piker, and that's sort of why I say, is it worth the gamble to do this?
Interesting. And Joni, in that Wall Street Journal op-ed that I talked about, the think tank Third Way, they wrote, "We're all for a big tent, but the Democratic Party needs to draw a line in the sand."
Their big tent is big enough to include Nazis, but not big enough to include most of the people who actually vote for Democrats. It's a really great idea that they have there, the Third Way, the fucking third position.
Piker and his fellow Jew haters belong on the other side. Donny O'Sullivan, Piker, to respond to critics who call him
Oh, wow. Far left streamer gains popularity despite anti-Semitic rhetoric. Just stating that as a fact. Just stating that is a fact. They haven't actually provided a single example yet. They provided a far-right think tank accusing him, again, without providing any evidence. And they're just gonna put that up there, like...
Anti-Semitic. He quoted a few things that Piker had said.
Like what? Well, for example, because so far you haven't come up with, like, the inbred thing was, like, borderline. But all the rest of that, no, it wasn't.
Especially a Zionist dog or Zionist.
That's not anti-Semitic. Most Zionists are not even Jews. Yeah, they're showing up. Yeah, Adri, I see your chat.
Zionist pig, or I think the actual quote was Zionist pig dog, whatever that means.
Well, I would imagine it was. It says that the person is a Zionist, and also a Zionist that he doesn't think very highly of. Like, I don't think it's actually hard to understand what that means, Jake. Like, what is with this thing? I mean, we see this with David Pac-Man too, where the idea is you pretend you don't understand obvious things. Like, who is that supposed to impress?
Piker's response.
I've spent my entire professional media career and far beyond that combating anti-Semitism. I've been doxxed, swatted by neo-Nazis for my consistent advocacy against anti-Semitism. I just also happen to be an avowed anti-Zionist. I believe Zionism is a very racist ideology. It's an ethno-religious supremacist ideology, and it's the underpinning ideology that has caused...
Like, no notes. This is absolutely right.
...genocide of Palestinians.
Yeah, Jake. I wonder, like, if maybe you should be taking a little responsibility for that, Jake. I mean, it is really wild to see, like, this guy, Jake Tapper, the role he has played in justifying a fucking genocide and lying about that genocide has, I mean, he has blood on his hands. And here he is on this fucking show going, wow, this Hassan guy is really problematic, see? I mean, like, seriously, even if he actually had a point on that, he would still have to shut the fuck up because nothing that Hassan has ever done, no harm that he's ever done actually reaches the level that Jake Tapper has reached.
...of Israel and also...
Oh, Tectone, never heard of him.
...the United States of America.
Jonah, there's a lot to unpack there. What's your response?
Yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, what...
motherfucker looks like a Proud Boy.
What Piker does that a lot of people of his ilk do is they...
A lot of people of his ilk?
They try to inoculate themselves against claims of Jew hatred by pointing it out in places that aren't them.
Well, yes, so what you're saying is he points it out when your friends are doing it, Jonah.
He's been very clear pointing things out on the right. Oh, that's anti-Semitism. These are the tropes they use. And then he'll use the exact same trope.
Like what?
And just sub-Jew for Israel. Which is the place where all Jews collectively have a connection to.
Like, no. What he's just said here, again, we're doing really badly when we're talking about... We're supposed to be talking about Hassan's anti-Semitism, and so far, both Jake and Jonah have said really anti-Semitic things.
And is the homeland where more than 50% of Jews on planet Earth...
Well, that isn't even right. Israel has never been home to the majority of the world's Jews, and it isn't now. Most Jews in the world don't live there. And actually, the tendency is going towards the percentage of Jews living in Israel dropping. Like, so what he's just saying is just straight up wrong.
Live. So it's not, he would never say Jews control the media, but Israel controls the media.
Does he actually say that? Has he, chat, I mean, I feel like I would have heard if he'd said that. I don't follow him, but has he ever said Israel controls the media?
Yeah, and, you know, the Jews didn't pull us into the war with Iran and control the American government, but Israel does.
Did he say that?
And so,
I mean, it's worth noting that is a line that the Trump administration themselves have been pushing. Like Marco Rubio was actually like insinuating that just recently. That seems to be how they're distancing themselves from their impressive, just fucking, Operation Epic fiasco.
He's able to sort of get away with some of this stuff in these subtle ways.
Wait, what he's see, the problem, what's really anti-Semitic about Hassan is that he points out anti-Semitism when he sees it, you see. And the trouble is that he points out anti-Semitism, and it's with the kinds of people that like Jonah Platt would be hanging out with.
When really his impact is just as harmful as any out-and-out anti-Semite.
Wait, I thought you just said he was one. Now he isn't one?
Just, he's got a different name and he comes from a different wing of politics.
It's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how we've not been provided with a single bit of proof that any of that is true. I mean, that is really fascinating. It's great that this is the state of discourse on U.S. media. I mean, it's just wild because I was just last night, somebody was sharing clips of some like Iranian news analysis program, and they would did a deep dive into like what the U.S. media is saying, the different like wings of the political class, like a really like serious engagement with the discourse over here, and it's like a depth of analysis that you never see here. Like Rush Limbaugh, this is like Rush Limbaugh level.
Politico asked a bunch of Democratic politicians running for president, or who might run for president, if they would ever do his podcast. And the only two Jews thinking about possibly running for president, Rahm Emanuel.
Wow, like the disgraced former Chicago mayor, who's also a big supporter of genocide. I wonder if that's why.
And Josh Shapiro.
Also a big supporter of genocide and also helped cover up a murder by a friend of his.
Both suggested that they might be willing to.
I think this gets to something important with this debate in Michigan. It's different to go onto his podcast and joust over ideas. I think seeing Josh Shapiro and Hassan Piker on his Twitch stream would be fascinating.
I mean, I think it would be hilarious because he would absolutely humiliate them. Like, especially fucking Rahm Emanuel. I mean, that utterly corrupt motherfucker. I thought we were supposed to be done with him. Like, this is why it sucks that in U.S. politics there is no such thing as the concept of disgrace. Like, there is never anything so too corrupt, too criminal, too hateful and ugly and fucked up that you can do in U.S. politics that will actually end your career. You just wait a couple years and you come back. Yes, he said joust over ideas. Like, I mean, Rahm Emanuel, the amount of just corrupt and racist and violent shit he did as mayor of Chicago, including covering up a murder. Actually, he and Josh Shapiro have that in common, except that was a murder by cops in fucking in Rahm Emanuel's case. Like, he should be finished, and instead he's gonna try to run for president?
I think Josh Shapiro is smart, and they would have a spirited debate.
Yeah, I mean, they're tokenized, and they're using hardline right-wing assholes as like some sort of surrogate for Jews generally.
Say in politics, the difference is going out to campaign with somebody, and the candidate, it's implicitly endorsing his views or suggesting, why don't you come to Michigan and campaign with me? That.
Well, you mean sort of like when Kamala Harris took noted rapist Bill Clinton to campaign with her, and he did a racist rant about how the Bible says Palestinians can fuck off? Like, I mean, for example.
That's the difference. I think candidates should be able to go on to podcasts with people who disagree with them. But yeah, I mean, the politics.
Oh, well, I mean, that's so big of him. That's so free speech of him. He thinks that they should be allowed to go onto podcasts.
Politics of Israel heading into 2028 are going to be fascinating. You're already seeing tons of Democrats kind of come out against AIPAC but also defending Israel. Gavin Newsom.
Well, yeah, which is actually, it's very interesting to watch, because at the moment we are really getting to see, we're getting kind of a controlled experiment into just how little any of this is down to AIPAC. Because lots of the politicians who have been supporting the genocide all along don't get a penny from AIPAC. And now all sorts of just genocidal ghouls are saying, yeah, it's an embarrassment to be associated with AIPAC. They're not going to change what they do, but they will change who they take money from.
Obviously had to walk back calling Israel an apartheid state. The other thing that's a factor...
I mean, he didn't have to. Because it was just a true statement. He could have just said it. It was utterly pathetic. Like, I mean, the level of pandering in the case of Gavin Newsom is just fascinating. Because he just threw that out there to see what would happen if he said something that was actually more popular than anything that he usually says. And then the minute somebody said, well, that's anti-genocide of you, and he's like, okay, you're right, I need to be more genocidal.
Here, the more Democrats engage with influencers heading into 2028, they're going to have to confront some views, the things they might have said in the past.
I mean, the wild thing about this, they're not going to talk about it. I'm sure they're not going to talk about it. But, like, the campaign that won Biden the White House was very heavily TikTok based. Like, you had all sorts of, like, TikTokers who supported him, like, from disability TikTok, because they wanted to just get rid of Trump, because they figured that there might be a better handling of the pandemic. And so you had a bunch of, like, independent small influencers, not people who were, like, enthralled to any of the parties, but who had audiences, and Biden tried to sort of co-opt them and say, and they became, and started inviting them to White House press conferences and shit like that. And then some of them said some critical things about, like, how he decided to just let everybody get COVID, for example. And they immediately just got completely cut off for even the first bit of criticism. That is, like, the Democrats really do not want to deal with any kind of media that they do not totally fucking control. Nobody who isn't totally beholden to them.
Quick one-sentence final thoughts on this. You worried about the direction of the Democratic Party?
I'm worried. I agree that they should be able to debate, but they have to come in clear-eyed and know that they're there to debate and push back on these bad ideas.
What bad ideas? You haven't given an example of one.
Not to get it chummy and have a fun conversation.
Thanks so much for being here.
Okay, so that was thoroughly unedifying. It does tell us a little bit about the fucking... the state of U.S. media, that is the way you have this conversation. So, I thought we might have a look at some people we haven't looked at in a while. Just check in on them.
Get ready for the only pro-Israel propaganda program with these awful fucking people.
The church, there are no churches in Gaza. Unfortunately, there are no Christians.
And now the Arab population has increased over time for all their whining. But can I add one thing to that? Yep. And why? I thought it was fascinating, distressing. Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Ugh, God, they suck.
Yes, we're gonna look at the ghouls over at JNS. And they've got everybody, everyone, when you say, like, shitty failed Zionist comedian, you think of Michael Rappaport, of course. Unless you're in Germany, in which case there is a guy whose whole thing is that he's very racist and very unfunny, and like his whole appeal is that he's also like gay. He's like a racist, gay, unfunny person, and so he's a big Zionist. So in Germany, he's very well known because like all the shittiest Zionist stuff is very big there. But here we're going to hear comedian Daniel Ryan Spalding exposing the disturbing psychology of pro-Hamas activists. And the thumbnail has him saying he was lied to.
I expected to move to New York and pursue comedy, but I ended up in the center of a geopolitical conflict. So your neighbors are like,
In the center? Like, what, you're not in the center of shit.
Yes, it's just the weirdest situation to be in. And I thought, how bizarre. What are you doing? Like, these are Islamists. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going down, I'm going down with the Jews.
Oh, God, no. No, please don't. Please, you can go down on your own, actually.
So today,
this is the fake mayor of fake deputy mayor of Jerusalem, who famously denied that there were any Christians in Gaza as Israel was trying to make that a reality.
invited on the quad interviews somebody who's been on the quad for months and months. We've enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, really? I guess there had to be somebody.
But today, I wanted to bring you all the Daniel Ryan Spalding backstory. Daniel, thank you for coming in.
Oh, God. Oh, the Daniel Ryan Spalding backstory. Why the fuck did we need this? And so, for anyone not familiar with the Quad, the thing to know about them is this isn't liberal Zionism. This is Likud translated into English. Like, they take the really extreme lines that you don't really... Yeah, we have not checked in them in... It's probably been a year. Like, they literally have videos where they claim that Joe Biden is Hamas. Like, that's their thing. That is how fucking extreme they are. And she's one of the worst of them.
Daniel, you never miss a good woo.
Yes.
I mean, you've literally been here throughout the worst times in the last few years.
Yes.
And, of course, I encountered you online.
I mean, isn't it interesting that when he shows up, it's one of the worst times? I mean, I can understand that. I've seen enough of his content to know that, I mean, if you were having a good time before he shows up, you won't be after.
Many of us did. And I thought, who is this super funny guy making light of a very horrible situation, but also telling the truth? So
Samuel Bade? Matt Lieb? Oh, wait. That was a trick question. She meant Daniel Ryan Spalding. I was thrown off by the super funny thing.
Was always very interested in understanding how this Canadian non-Jew winds up in Israel after having lived in Berlin. And what made you become a fan of Israel? Because I know there's a story here.
Oh, God, yes. There's got to be. I mean, tell us the origin of your grift, Daniel.
Start off a fan.
Yes, well, I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. And I think that a lot of my philo-Semitism, if you will, the love of Jewish...
Which, I mean, let's all remember, I've never actually heard somebody attribute that to themselves, because it's not generally considered a good thing, because it is generally understood to be sort of the flip side of the coin of anti-Semitism.
Culture comes from my love of the early influences that shaped my creativity. So I was really obsessed with Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I would just like play episodes of Seinfeld and watch them like on the VCR. I would record them as a little boy.
Amazing.
And just play the episode.
Man, he's got like gray on his sides. There's no way he was a little boy when he was recording Seinfeld.
Over and over again. I loved that sort of situational humor and the farce and the the characters.
So wait, so he decided to become a genocidal Zionist because he liked Seinfeld? Like, what? This is where we're going here?
I loved Will and Grace. I loved all
What
of
does that have to do with... What the fuck does Will and Grace have to do... Like, Will and Grace doesn't... I think they don't even have, like, any, like... I mean, it's like a kind of not very great gay representation show, I suppose. Oh, well, like... Oh, right. What's her name? Deborah Messing, who is a horrible far-right Zionist asshole. But, like, that's not something that you see when you're watching Will and Grace, though. I mean, I don't remember that being a thing in Seinfeld. I think I saw every single Seinfeld episode at least twice. Because I actually quite like Seinfeld. The later seasons weren't as good. But, I mean, when it was funny, it was funny. But I don't remember any of it actually ever being in any way even, like... I don't remember Zionism really even coming up in it. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like I would remember that. I mean, same thing with fucking Will and Grace. So he's picking specifically people who one would find out later on, after these shows were over, were like just ghoulishly anti-Palestinian racists.
That great 1990s like must-see television that was still very that was reminiscent of like the Borscht Belt.
How the fuck would he know what the fucking Borscht Belt is like? He's just throwing out terminology here. Like, what the fuck does this guy know about the Borscht Belt?
Like Jewish humor.
Very Jewish and very gay as well.
Yeah, gay and Jewish humor.
Yeah, Golden Girls as well was all written by gay men or Jews.
Yes.
And I just
like, so what? So therefore you decided to be racist about Palestinian, like...
Of that sensibility. And so I think that really shaped a lot of my sense of humor. I loved Woody Allen movies.
I don't know that I don't up to that at this point.
Too. Although he as a person is maybe a little problematic, but I loved his movie.
Wait, he as a person is maybe problematic. That's so fascinating. Like, okay, interesting. He as a person maybe, but not Jerry Seinfeld, not Deborah Messing.
Movies.
Yeah.
I think that my family also was very, pro-Jewish.
What the fuck does that mean? Like, I mean, this is like the anatomy of a Jew weeb. I didn't know we had our own weebs outside of Germany. He's like a weeb for Jews. Which is just weird and very uncomfortable, and like it makes me once again think that you could do a Yiddish remake of Get Out and set it in Germany.
Grandmother and Holocaust survivors as friends, and I would be there and I'd hear all the stories that just really deeply unsettled me. I couldn't even believe like how awful and evil that time in history was.
Like, okay. And so you decided later in life to back a fucking genocide. Yes, a jeeb, apparently.
And also in Canada at the time we had very extensive Holocaust education.
I mean, and if he's saying that is what has decided to make him an anti-Palestinian racist professionally, that is another example of how Holocaust education needs to just be completely scrapped and redone bottom up.
And that time was early.
Because, like, the whole thing that's supposed to be hammered in there supposedly is never again, and we're watching again right now. So clearly, that shit didn't work.
90s was the time of Schindler's List. So I remember being very aware of that
So, like, his
history as a child. And,
did you have Jewish friends in school?
I didn't. I didn't.
Of course not. They probably thought he was creepy as hell.
have some Jewish friends early on in my adulthood.
Early on, so not still? That's very interesting. So he's saying he's never really had Jewish friends long term. And I can't imagine why that would be.
But it was only until I lived in Berlin that I had a few American Jewish friends, but then it was really when I became friends with Israeli that I really started to understand Judaism and
oh God,
Israel, and I came and visited here.
So you moved from Vancouver to Berlin.
Yeah, I left Canada when I was 25, and I traveled. So I built sort of a little comedy.
They say traveling is. I mean, you see this quote every once in a while talking about travel being like the antidote to fascism, and it's like I think we're seeing the refutation here.
Career for myself. I was sort of living out of a suitcase for many years.
Mm.
I ended up performing in about 50 countries.
Wow.
And but eventually I ended up
Any
basing
repeat
myself
engagements?
in Berlin. I had an apartment there for 5 years, and I sort of developed different little fun web series, and I was trying to get like a TV project off the ground there, but it's very difficult to do something in English in Germany.
Yeah.
Like, why not do it in German? I'm gonna just skip ahead and see, because we were promised the disturbing psychology of pro-Hamas activists.
You get here for the first time because you've got some Israeli friends in Berlin.
Yes.
That say, "Come, Daniel, come and see what Israel's like."
So I came right before COVID.
Right.
One visit before COVID, and then I really loved it, and so I came back.
Which is really so like when we talk about COVID and we talk about Israel, you have to talk about the fact that Israel actually was refusing to allocate vaccines to Palestinians in the occupied territories. They said it was not their responsibility and that the Palestinians needed to sort it out on their own.
Multiple times over the next few years. And then I also got, I was writing for a television series in Germany. And so I got commissioned to create a treatment for the concept of a television series.
A treatment for the concept of a television series.
Set between Berlin and Tel Aviv.
Oh.
Like a gay drama series.
Right.
So this...
Wait, that is just so absolutely... That is so fucking German television that they would decide that this guy should be the one... it's supposed... I guess the idea is it's going to be like gay Jews and stuff like that. Lots of tokenization. And they decided the guy who should do the treatment is like... it just fetishizes Jews. Which is roughly what a lot of Germany does.
German production company commissioned me to write this concept, so I stayed here for 3 months.
Oh, okay.
And that's really where I learned a lot about...
did you ever go to the West Bank in that time?
The society, because I was writing this series.
Oh.
And I was also coming and doing my show and performing here.
So when did things start to become clearer, and what did you start seeing or learning that changed your mind from this kind of...
Changed your... we haven't seen anything that suggested his mind needed to be... it was already just the creepiest pro-Zionist heebie-jeebies. Jeeb is really good because then it fits, because you can say that Jeebs give Jews the heebie-jeebies.
Friend took me to Bethlehem.
Okay, surrounded by the wall.
I was only here for 3 days and 2 nights, and on the 3rd day we went to Bethlehem, and I saw the security wall.
The security wall.
And my first thought, I said to him, I was like, why can't you guys just tear down this wall and live together peacefully?
Yeah.
Especially because the International Court of Justice has said you need to do that, because that wall is not on their territory by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
And he was like, well, there are terrorist regimes
on the other side of...
There are terrorist regimes. What, plural? Plural.
Who would come in and kill us.
Yes, who did come in and kill us, by the way. That was the second intifada.
And
I wonder if you went in there and killed anyone.
My mind couldn't process that.
God, and like, so that's all it took for this motherfucker to decide to just be a Palestinian racist, an anti-Palestinian racist.
To myself, well, yeah, they're angry at you for building the wall.
Okay.
Well, yes, yeah, they are. And for occupying their country and stealing their land and killing their people. Like, lots of things, actually. It's kind of added up over the years.
If you just didn't have this wall and you didn't make them go through these embarrassing checkpoints,
Yeah.
like, and, you know, treat them like just savages, like, you know, they wouldn't be mean and angry at you. And they,
Well, yeah, except then they'd still be occupying. So, okay, you started out as a liberal Zionist, is what we're seeing here.
wouldn't commit terrorism.
Yes.
Like the idea of jihadism and Islamism and the idea of like waging jihad and the fact.
Yes, I'm sure he has a nuanced understanding of what the concept of jihad is.
That these terrorist groups are funded by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Like, none of this my mind could process.
Really? I mean, what was... You couldn't process what exactly? Because it seems like you processed it. It seems like you actually noticed a lot of things that are just inconvenient facts. And you've managed to cognitive dissonance your way out of them.
Because it wasn't your world. It wasn't your lens. You didn't have a clue.
Yes, exactly. And also, in Israel, it is a free society. It feels like you're in America. Or
Well, that's because it's full of Yanks. I mean, even the fucking prime minister's from Philly. It's such a free society. As long as you don't say anything that the military censor objects to, or something that falls under the law that says that if you broadcast anything that might adversely affect morale, you will have all your assets seized. You know, it's a very free society. I mean, unless you're a Palestinian living under occupation, you might feel a bit differently about that.
Yeah.
In Europe, but you're up against
the Middle East.
You're literally in somebody else's region, and that's kind of the issue.
We are
people forget.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So your neighbors are like ISIS.
Well, no, I mean, because the thing about ISIS is ISIS and Israel get along pretty well. Like, ISIS is literally the only Arab armed group that Israel has ever apologized to for bombing them. ISIS is who Israel sent into Gaza to try to take over.
It's just the weirdest situation to be in.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're in a free...
It's so weird. Like, living in this bullshit story that you tell yourselves must be so fucking weird.
An easy, fun place, but your neighbors are ISIS.
Yes.
It's an easy, fun place as long as, like, you're a white dude from Vancouver.
Exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or, like, a posh fucking barrister from Gibraltar.
So when did the penny start dropping?
Well, I went to the Dead Sea with two friends of mine.
Right.
And I, at that point, I felt comfortable enough to sort of ask them more detailed questions and explanations,
Like,
because I still couldn't process.
So, like, he does not have any Palestinian friends at this point.
Of course.
And so they started explaining to me that Israel is the reestablishment of an ancient kingdom. That there was the kingdom of Israel.
Oh, so he was, okay, like, literally the most far-right people in the entity were his friends. These are the people who are, like, politically grooming him.
In the kingdom of Judah thousands of years ago. And that really the idea of reestablishing the state as a modern state is an indigenous rights movement.
Oh, God, fuck off.
Is they are the indigenous people of the Levant.
Yes.
Well, I mean, no, actually. In fact, I hasten to note, I mention this, like, when this comes up, but that there were, in Palestine, Palestinian Jews, truly indigenous to the land. And they did not like the Zionists coming in because it was fucking up their relationships with their neighbors. And so the Zionists started killing them.
And the Arab Islamists are the colonizers.
Oh, like, no, that's not how any of that works. And what the fuck's up with your shirt, dude? Like, when you're a reactionary, when you're a gay reactionary, does somebody, like, take your, like, fashion sense away at the door? Like, what is this fucking David Attenborough shirt, but in light turquoise?
Of the Levant. So Zionism, the idea of Zionism, is an indigenous rights movement.
It's a decolonization movement.
Exactly.
I mean, see, she's smirking there, and she's smirking because she knows what she's saying is complete bullshit. She's not from there. She's a fucking London barrister.
Yeah. So once they framed it that way, and then they went through all
with titled parents who grew up in the place where rich Brits go to not have to pay tax.
Different, imperial or powers that took over this region. So the Romans, the Mameluks,
Babylonians, the Mameluks.
Yeah,
yeah.
The Mameluks, the Mameluks, like, wow, fucking impresentable, well.
Crusaders,
the Ottoman.
Yeah, and then the idea that Israel was reestablished after, like, it, the fact that this happened.
Like, I mean, this is just so fucking wild. This is all it took. Like somebody just told him some, like, racist bullshit, and he was like, oh, well, okay, then I guess that's cool. I guess the white supremacist apartheid state just kind of makes sense. Neat. Wow, I mean, this guy's pathetic.
Especially with the tragedy and the horrors of the Holocaust, and that.
Did you ask your friends what the Zionist movement did in relation to that? Because they didn't exactly cover themselves with glory.
You were able to reclaim your indigenous land and build this beautiful state. I just thought, wow, that's amazing.
Like, fun fact. Jews have been living in Europe for 700 years longer than people have lived in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Like, literally, the oldest human habitation that has been established in Aotearoa is from, like, the 14th century CE. Jews have been in Europe 2,000 years. Like, if living in a place for 2,000 years, having a 2,000 year history in a place doesn't make you indigenous to the place, then this term has no meaning.
Like,
the way they use it, it doesn't have any meaning. Like, this nonsense. They never use this stuff until colonization became a dirty word. Yeah, the beautiful state.
It just sort of it dawned on me, like, how spectacular that was, but I still couldn't really.
I mean, I can kind of, let me just say, from a point of view of having absolutely no understanding of anything, just living in a complete fucking vacuum, you hear that sort of thing, and if you have absolutely no mental self-defense to actually say, wait a second, actually all of that is bullshit, I can see how somebody would be like, holy shit, that's amazing. Because, I mean, like, I grew up listening to Zionist bullshit. I only really started to question it when I turned, like, 17, 18. And so that bit, but of course, at that time, we didn't have the internet. So we only really had whatever information the U.S. media would provide. And so I didn't know any, nobody even talked about the sort of shit that Israel was getting up to in the West Bank and Lebanon and all those various places. But he, on the other hand, sees all that shit and with eyes wide open talking to some sort of far-right extremist settler asshole hears, oh, well, this is the reestablishment of a kingdom from 3,000 years ago, And he's like, wow, dude. And it's like, man, like, seriously?
Got my head around the idea that I had built this sort of fantasy of Palestinians being oppressed.
Oh, really? A fantasy? You saw the fucking wall. It was the wall of fantasy too? Did you go back to Bethlehem and holy shit, there's no actual wall there? The fantasy. You literally watched it.
By you.
Yeah, I mean, and that one is. I mean, if you don't know anything, if it's literally the only thing you're hearing, it does sound, it sounds epic. And it is meant to sound epic. That is, that is the whole idea.
And so, finally, I think after we had this beautiful day in the Dead Sea, I met up with another friend, and
probably also not Palestinian.
And I was sort of telling her about the day and everything, and I told her, I really love Israel, but I feel bad for the way your government treats Palestinians.
Okay, yeah. So,
and she said, what do you mean?
I mean, see, this makes him look worse, if anything, to me. And I had a very low opinion of him in the first place. He was doing, like, really shitty comedy as propaganda for genocide. Just basically a Nazi, when you get down to it. A gay Nazi, which is a really odd thing. Like, actually being, like, gay for Israel is a little bit like being a chicken for KFC, because Israel does not actually treat queer people well at all. Like, conversion therapy is totally acceptable and advocated by the government. But, like, to hear that he actually did have his eyes somewhat open to the reality, and this was all it took to mollify his conscience and get him to say, yeah, actually, fuck them. Yeah, actually, I don't give a shit. Like, that this is all it fucking took. That is, I didn't think I could think less of this guy, but that is amazing.
And I was like, I don't, like your government. Because in my mind, I was thinking the problem was the government. Like,
yes.
Well, yeah, because, the government does suck.
Are all lovely people.
Yes.
But you have this.
Well, yeah, they're all lovely people to you. Like, they're literally all lovely people to you. Imagine if you weren't a white dude from fucking Vancouver. Imagine if maybe you were from Ramallah. Yeah, whether they would be so nice to you. Like, I mean, ask the Zionists. They're like, for whatever reason, you have, like, these fanatical Zionists from India. Like, right-wing Hindutva assholes who are also fanatically pro-Zionist. And every once in a while, one of the, like, a right-wing Hindutva influencer who's also really big into Israel will go over there to show how great the nightlife is. And what they end up telling their followers is how they weren't allowed into a single bar because they were the wrong color. Like, that they literally just got spat on and kicked out. Like, I mean, so they were so nice to him, Chad. Wow. I mean, this is like when fucking Ezra Klein talks about, like, how correct Charlie Kirk is. Yeah, and he chose that fantasy because these people were nice to him without giving any thought to how they might treat him if he looked different. Without giving the slightest thought to the fact that actually one of the things, that he might be being love-bombed as well.
Terrible, horrible government.
Yes.
And she said to me really slowly, she was like, you think we do something to them?
Well, yes, because you do something to them. You do a lot of something to them. Like...
And I was like, yeah. And she goes,
I mean, because you fucking do.
Daniel, they live in separate territories.
Yes, well, except, like, before 1948, a lot more of them lived where we are right now, though.
They have separate leadership.
Yeah.
Wait, so that means that Israel didn't do anything?
The problem is their leadership.
Wait, okay, so their leadership is like sending the Air Force to bomb them all the time? Is that what we're supposed to? Like, they're living... wow, this was all it took... Don't tell me that... Like, if this is all it took for this motherfucker to just completely abandon any moral compunction about the Palestinians, then his conscience is entirely too easy to put to sleep.
Exactly. And then it clicked for me.
What? Like, what were you talking about when you said we do things to the Palestinians? Like, surely you were talking about the bombing, which isn't their leadership doing that. Surely you were talking about the wall, that isn't their leadership doing that. Like, I mean, is their leadership able to order Israel around to attack and, like, murder Palestinians? Is that how that works? Like, is this really... Like, I would like to think that he is just sort of summarizing and sort of bullshitifying this a little bit because of the audience. Because, like, the idea that this is all it would take to completely put a person's conscience to sleep is actually staggering.
And I thought, oh my god, why did I think that? Look at all...
Why did you think that? Because it's true! It's fucking true! You can see it happening! Like, what, are you fucking new? What the planet are you from? Wow. What is this, like the fucking Jedi mind trick? I don't know what I was thinking! These aren't the droids I'm looking for! How did I ever think these were the droids I'm looking for?
Of you wonderful, fabulous people. You're just like Jews, like all the kind of Jews that I love in America.
No, not like us. Very much not like us.
But you're here, and in Israel.
Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is like the level of cringe on display here. Like, that's all it fucking took. And he's like...
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot.
I mean...
like, why did I think that?
Again, you thought that because it's fucking true.
And so, I guess I just kind of continued on.
I mean, on a certain level, I hope he's lying about this, that it actually was a more complex process that involved a lot of opportunism, a lot more just outright opportunism on his part, because, like, realizing that he's actually not a very good comedian or a very good writer, and that doing propaganda would probably be his only big break. I would like to think that, because then this is actually deceiving their audience about how easy it is to turn somebody into a fascist.
I must have been the only person who thought that.
You know, that's funny because you weren't.
You must have been the only person who thought that Israel was oppressing another people.
Yes.
You weren't, though. Oh. Like...
Exactly.
And then...
yes, exactly. And then years later...
You open social media.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, wow, it turns out, no, you're not the only person who thought that. Maybe the reason that so many people think that is because they see it fucking happening.
Look what's happened.
Wow, so that was for you kind of like the dropping of the penny moment.
Yes, exactly.
From that you already had a different lens.
Yes, exactly.
You go back...
Yeah, we're mixing metaphors with wild abandon here on the quad.
Back to Berlin, you get on with your life.
Yes. And at that point I started making more friends who were Israeli.
Because now you...
I mean, and the wild thing about this as well is that when you go, like, a lot of the people with Israeli passports in Berlin are in Berlin rather than Israel, specifically because the place is such a fascist cesspit that it's not safe for them to be there. Like, even anyone who's just vaguely progressive has been, like, leaving the country for a long time. So the Israeli citizens you find in Berlin are almost certainly, a lot of them, going to be not particular fans of this government that he's here, like, just sucking up to.
You understood that.
Exactly. And there was a film, a really great film called Sublet, with my friend Niv Nassim, and that was done by Etan Fox, and that came out in the Berlin Jewish Film Festival.
Right.
And I went and I helped them do some publicity, and I went to that. I watched that movie, and so I was like getting more deeply connected to Israel and building friendships here, and
like, I mean, having been told that, like, and not been, he's never, like, apparently talked to a Palestinian in this retelling. Never met one. Nobody ever said, never asked a Palestinian, well, what do you think of what these people are telling me? Would you agree with it? Like, I mean, it's like, my opinion of this man was very low when we got into this, but it's like, his retelling of his origin story actually makes me even more unimpressed with him.
Coming and performing here.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes.
And then October the 7th. So where were you?
Oh, I bet he survived October the 7th the same way so many other people did by not being anywhere near it.
What happened? How did that and those events then turn you into one of the most effective activists for Israel?
I don't know if... I mean, I would like to think he's one of the most effective because it doesn't speak very highly of their propaganda.
Well, I was wrapping up a European tour, and so I had lost 200 pounds. I used to be very heavy. Yes.
That's right.
I lost.
But you documented also.
I did, yes. And I had to have, like, because I had lots of plastic surgery too. So I had, like, a facelift, and I had, like...
I love how you're so open about all of this.
Oh, yeah. I'm a very honest person.
Really?
Well, I mean, not about some things.
Yeah, you put it all out there.
Yes. So I had just gone through this transformation, and
was your shtick?
Like, how the fuck are we talking about, like, his plastic surgery and shit? Like, how did we get here from October 7th? Like, how does this come into any of this?
On stage, your weight, was that part?
No, I think it was that I was oblivious to the fact that I was so obese.
Like, you didn't care?
I mean...
Yeah, like, I never really thought about...
That's amazing! That's amazing! Like, what the fuck?
About it. I was very detached. I had built up a
yeah, I mean, he does seem to be very good at compartmentalizing, I will say that.
Wall in my... I built up sort of the human mind has an extraordinary ability
to cope
and to, like, because life is so difficult and you have to carry on, so you sort of build coping mechanisms to sort of...
I mean, he's telling on himself so much here. Because, I mean, he's describing how he's managed to sort of compartmentalize what he's actually seen from the way Israel treats Palestinians, and how he's managed with a couple of, like, really just glib bullshit statements from some people who treated him nicely, that, yeah, he decided he doesn't give a shit what happens to Palestinians.
Ignore certain problems. So I think that the fact that I was, like, like, a lot of my shtick was sort of about, like, going out and, like, trying to hook up with, like, Turkish daddies at, like, weird late night bars in Berlin, and I'm like this big overweight guy. And so
I mean, there's an undercurrent of self-hatred that comes in here as well, and it's like there are good reasons he should actually hate himself. Just look at the fucking company he's keeping. But he seems to have directed it at things that it absolutely should not be directed at.
I think it was more unintentional that, like...
That was part of the funny.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
that I was so oblivious to the fact that I was, like, obese.
Oh, my God.
And so
then you you made a decision, you lose all this weight.
Yes.
You've transformed. Now you're a hot guy.
I don't know about that. Like, I mean, I guess until he opens his mouth.
And I think that what struck me about the transformation, too, is that, like, my Israeli friends and my Jewish friends were so incredibly supportive
Yeah, I mean, that's how friends are supposed to be. Like, they're supposed to be supportive. Like, that doesn't mean that you decide to just become a white supremacist for them. Okay, but I just noticed the time. It is time to be done with this, Daniel... What the fuck is it? Daniel Ryan Spalding. A painful man to experience, I must say. In the company of a painful woman to experience. It is time to wrap up, and let me just say... let me just drop a couple of links before I go. First is where you can find all the completed translations in the Punto Final crowdfunded translation project. And I really appreciate everyone who has donated and supported the project. I'm on $345 out of $1,200. We're slowly but steadily getting there. There are some tasters from that project in that link there under collections. It's the Punto Final collection. And I appreciate people also like spreading the word around about it, sharing the links and stuff like that, because it is a real fucker to get the word out about this. And so all help is really just enormously appreciated. Let me also just drop the donation link for anyone who feels so inclined.
And even when
Shut up, Daniel. I didn't mean to turn you back on. Fucking hell. Okay, so thank you for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will be back at 11:30 U.S. Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m.